Hey guys, welcome to That Game Show, the show that talks about all the stuff in the nerd world and all the stuff in between. I'm your host, Chase Bunker, alongside the half Asian sensation, Curtis Coe.
Hello.
And since you didn't like my intro last week, the married man with the glowing headset, it's Daniel Clegg.
I mean, that's not much better, but I'll take it anyway.
Oh, yeah, you won't take Great Shaman on the WoW server, but you'll take glowing headset.
That's
Um,
true. This
yeah,
headset does glow. I can
he's
It
see it.
does. It does. And
It's
it's a less
based on
presumptuous.
sound. So if
yeah,
I say sound, it
it
glows.
glows. That's cool, actually. I
Oh,
didn't pay
do
attention
it,
to that.
do it again. Do it again.
Hi.
It
Hello.
does. Oh my God, you're right.
You didn't know that?
Learning new things here.
Mm-hmm.
Couple announcements before we go in. We are now at Podcast Garden instead of Podbean because I can actually upload the Podcast Garden. So go there for all the previous episodes as well as future episodes from there on. Also, we're working on getting interviews. I have one of the stars of the video, Too Many Cooks. We're gonna be getting an interview with her soon enough. Have you guys watched that video yet? The Adult
No.
Swim video of Too Many Cooks. It
No.
is
Didn't that just go up today? I feel
No,
like I just saw an
it's been up for
announcement
a
of that.
while. Like it's pretty much like this nostalgic satire of like 80s and 90s TV shows. It's pretty
Okay.
amazing. So I'd recommend checking that one out.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So, all right. First topic of the day. It's a pretty big one. BlizzCon actually just came out or just happened, excuse me.
Yes, it
They
did.
they announced the Warcraft movie. They talked about the final StarCraft 2 game, more Hearthstone expansions, and finally they talked about Overwatch. So we'll talk into that a little bit, guys. What was the biggest thing that happened at BlizzCon? We'll start with our Blizzard expert and Clegg.
Our Blizzard fanboy.
Yeah,
And it's Overwatch for sure. It's the first new IP Blizzard has delved into in, almost 2 decades, right?
yeah,
Hmm.
They've been floating on World of Warcraft for 10 years. They've had StarCraft going for two game series now, Diablo for three, and Hearthstone is just an extension of Warcraft. And Here's the Storm was an extension of all three of those,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they haven't done anything new with a new set of characters, a new IP in a very long time. And Overwatch is very different from what we've seen before. So that's definitely what everyone was most excited about.
Curtis, what are you excited about?
I am also excited about Overwatch, but I'm actually quite excited about the Warcraft movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I've been seeing has been pretty positive. The casting choices are good. I specifically like the guy who they have as the lead for the human side, who plays the main character in Vikings. If you've never seen that show,
Yeah,
it's
he's playing
excellent.
Lothar.
It's an excellent show, and he's gonna nail it. He's so good in Vikings. He's gonna be amazing in Warcraft movie. Um, I kind of feel like this could be, and I'm kind of shooting at this could be the video game movie that we've all been waiting for. The one that does justice to the material, but not so much that it's horrible, I
Yeah,
guess is the right word.
It can be
Uh,
appreciated by non-gamers as well.
yes,
Prince of Persia
exactly.
was
Important.
good.
Prince of Persia was good, but it wasn't
You're a liar.
great.
I know.
It
I
wasn't
wanted to
great.
really like that movie, but there's just so much you couldn't dive into.
Yeah, it
It was
was
okay.
it was odd.
Yeah.
I guess is the best way I could explain it. And it's the same way with the Doom movie. The Doom movie
Ugh.
is okay. It's not
I think it
great.
was okay if it wasn't named Doom.
Exactly. The issue that they ran in, they had a whole section where he's on like drugs or something, and he's in first person mode.
Yeah.
And anyways, we're getting completely off topic.
Yeah.
I think the movie is excellent. For the first time, being a complete Blizzard disbeliever for the most part, even though I play almost all their games, uh, I am excited of Overwatch. I think it looks really good. I think it looks really different from what's being put out by a lot of the AAA developers these days. And I'm hoping if it does well, they'll think about doing more new IPs.
Yeah. I
Right.
I definitely agree with Overwatch because the fact that it's been so long since they had an original IP, and it also comes just after they canceled Titan. And so we're thinking, okay, you just got rid of your one original IP in 20 years. What are you going to be doing now? And they just came out and said, all right, we have this game. I'm excited for Hearthstone. It's kind of an expansion, but what, they're just giving out new cards, and that's kind of really it. Unless I've
Yeah, yeah, but in a game like Hearthstone, that is enormous. That is, I mean, it is an expansion pack, right? Just like
Yeah.
wow, new content is new gameplay, and new cards in a collectible card game is new gameplay. And when they did the last adventure mode expansion, they introduced 30 cards, and it changed so much in the metagame. Like you saw totally new builds and totally new decks. With 120 new cards, it's going to be ridiculous. I mean, nothing we know right now is going to be the same in its next month, and that's
Yeah.
really weird as well. They never announce a game and then release it within the same year, let alone within the same, 1 month period.
I
So
mean,
that's a big step too.
It almost seemed like they downplayed a lot of Warlords of Draenors, considering it comes out soon. Like,
I
In
think
2 days, two or
Yeah.
three days, yeah.
I think everybody who's going to buy it has already bought it at this point,
Yeah.
pretty much, or for the most part.
Well, you can't do something like announce the next WoW expansion when you're talking about a new IP. It's just going to get overshadowed by that.
Yeah.
The Overwatch response was so enormous that it would have been a mistake to announce another unannounced game
Yeah.
like a WoW
Well,
expansion. We knew
I-
about the next StarCraft expansion, and we knew they were working on a Hearthstone expansion.
I would actually argue that's not a horrible time to do it. It's actually a great way to, in some ways, I don't want to say cover things up, but basically say, hey, we're working on these things in the background. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Overwatch is Titan, isn't it? It's just a scaled back Titan. Is that
I
what
don't think that was ever
I think-
confirmed.
Yeah.
I want to
don't
say
know.
Overwatch. I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
Well, let's just pretend for a moment that the people listening don't know what Overwatch is, right? I'm sure they do, but just
Yeah.
in case they don't,
Which goes
it's
into our next
basically-
topic about Overwatch. What is Overwatch, Clegg?
It's Blizzard's take on a shooter, right? It's the first time they've entered the shooter ring, and it's basically the comparisons have been Team Fortress 2 meets Unreal Tournament meets kind of like Portal elements. Those are the comparisons I've been hearing. I haven't played it, but I've seen a lot of gameplay footage, and everyone coming out of it is making a lot of comparisons to Team Fortress 2, especially with the art style.
Yeah.
It's very sort of comic booky, very artistic, almost like a Wind Waker art style, cartoony.
Yeah.
I would say it's closer to Borderlands, actually.
Yeah. They're saying Borderlands too. Yeah.
What's the one thing that caught your eye about Overwatch?
Easily the amount of different types of characters. I mean, you have a gorilla with a jetpack fighting a. I mean, honestly, you have the bad guy from Big Hero 6 fighting a gorilla with a jetpack. I mean,
That was a great movie, by the way.
I never saw
I
that.
haven't
Don't
seen,
say anything.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's really
Um,
good. Really good.
I did see another movie that I'm not going to talk about because it creeped me the heck out. For those of you that haven't seen Gone Girl, it's really creepy and probably don't want to see it with your significant other because
Yep.
you may feel like they might want to kill you that night.
Yeah.
So,
It's
Nice.
awesome.
anywho,
But I think the one thing that caught my eye was the fact that I liked the art style, and I thought the play mechanic was really cool. The fact that it's not just a simple shoot and jump, but like each character has an ability. It's almost like literally in the sense of it's a MOBA shooter. Like this is what Smite should have been, because Smite's a
That's
little
it.
bit more like a
Yeah.
third-person shooter.
yeah.
That's
This
the
looks
comparison I was
like
going to make was like Smite. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. This is like a MOBA-like shooter where everybody has these special abilities, and I thought the gameplay trailer was really cool just because you see like one guy had the archer has the reflective arrows. It's like, okay, I have a shield. Oh, reflective arrow, gonna fix everything. You have the robot that can actually turn into a chain gun, and like all these little elements that they had they were so unique and so well done. Though, Curtis, I will say you're wrong. It is not their first time in the shooter realm. Let's not forget StarCraft Ghost. They did
But
work on it.
never released.
But we never saw it.
released.
So
I
It was never released, and it was also a stealth game.
still had shooting.
I don't think we can count
yeah,
that.
okay, but
because
StarCraft 2 has shooting too, and it's not a shooter.
I
I don't think we can make that argument
Yeah.
because A, it never came out. Like, if Overwatch never comes out, we could totally make a comparison that Blizzard has some interesting ideas, they just never release anything original.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, the thing that
let's be clear, that's already true.
Let-
They already
well,
don't release original
actually,
game.
Clegg and I were having a really interesting conversation about this. I think it was it right after BlizzCon, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
We were basically saying Blizzard does not innovate; they just polish to a point where, to the point where it almost feels like a. a new gameplay feature almost.
Exactly. Like, I mean, you had EverQuest that came out, which dominated the MMO market for years, and then they come out with World of Warcraft. They polish it up, and it's like the MMO for like the past 10 years, and it looks like they can go on for like another five or at least three. You have Heroes of the Storm coming out, which they're changing up the MOBA elements, which is really cool, and Diablo is just like the whole hack and slash element. So I completely
StarCraft is
agree.
the action dungeon crawler game.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I completely agree, and especially like Overwatch looks like an advanced version of Team Fortress 2 with a little bit of Unreal Tournament elements, which I can always appreciate. But
Right? Yeah.
they each have abilities. I mean, like Team Fortress 2 had some of those abilities, like the Scout could double jump and the Pyro couldn't catch on fire, but these guys actually have like legit abilities, like the
And
Tracer going back in time and
a
stuff.
lot of mobility
Yeah.
traits to them as well. Like someone has a grappling hook, someone can blink, like you were saying.
Yeah,
The
or the blink, excuse me.
I don't haven't memorized their names yet, but the giant robot dude with the hammer and the shield,
Yeah,
Reinhardt,
He can
I think
do
is his name.
he
He's
can
got
do like
like
a charge.
charging
Yeah.
thing where he pins you against the wall. The monkey has a giant leap attack. They've all got some kind of crazy mobility skill. It has a
yeah,
cooldown, of course, but it really adds a lot of movement to the
Yeah.
fighting, which is kind of what Unreal Tournament did with the teleporter
Mhm.
yeah.
feature. You know, as a big
Yeah.
part of the gameplay.
And then one thing that Unreal Tournament also did very well is they did like things like wall jumps, and it was kind of the beginning. I don't want to say this because I'm not 100% sure because I think Quake might have done it before it. But like it had the very parkour elements in the game where you would jump off walls while shooting at things and such like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I like
And they've
that. Oh, sorry,
go ahead.
you
Go
first.
ahead. They've said that there's no team deathmatch
Hmm.
battle type, which I like. It's all objective based. So it's not just you go off into your own little corner of the map and get headshots and feel good about yourself. You have to contribute to your team by capturing objectives or moving supplies or delivering the bomb or capture the flag or whatever it is. It's not six people, six individual people on a team, and one of you ends up killing more than the other. It's about how do you work together.
Exactly.
Right? And
Mhm.
that's really nice that they're stressing that.
That's what I love more. Like I love more of the capture the flag team instead of like team deathmatch and stuff. Like you guys, we've played. You guys played with me for years. Like you know that I love the objective based. And I've noticed this now with Titanfall coming out and Call of Duty.
Titanfall's already out.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Titanfall already came out. Excuse me. I mean,
Yeah.
Titanfall came out. I meant to say Call of Duty Advanced Warfare just came
Is
out.
out as well.
You're seeing a lot of more faster paced multiplayer. Which, by the way, you guys know I hate Call of Duty. I might get Advanced Warfare just
It
because
looks pretty cool.
it
I'm not
does
gonna
look
lie.
cool.
It does look pretty neat. It's
For those of you who don't know me or didn't see Curtis and I's panel at Tampa Bay Comic Con, I'm not a fan of Call of Duty. I was a fan of the first few, but I hate them just after that, just because they were all the same. But now that they changed everything up, it's like, okay, this looks unique. But going back to what I was saying, do you think that we're going back to the Twitch shooter era?
No, I
uh,
don't think. At least not with Overwatch, because Blizzard is all about um, easy to learn a game, difficult to master a game. So I don't think they'd introduce a feature that requires that sort of finger play. You know, that the majority of their audience, in my opinion, is over. A large part of them are over 30 now because they started with WoW back when they were 20. Now they're 30 and have kids or whatever. I don't think you can tailor your game exclusively to the teen and young 20 audience, which is what Twitch gameplay does.
I disagree with you completely on the reasons. And actually, I do feel like Overwatch is a highly Twitch shooter game because you have wall running. There's the archer guy who runs up steps. There's the person who teleports backwards. That's all about Twitch reactions. I see something I should have done differently, or I need to get back. That's immediately a Twitch reaction. Same way when we play League, you have that Twitch reaction to Luxalti at X specific time. It's that Twitch reaction where you're like, I have to get something done very, very quickly. Same way reason why Team Fortress, I think, is in many ways a Twitch shooter. However, I don't think it's coming back for a couple reasons. One, Clegg is correct. It's not very accessible. It takes a long time to get your reactions up. For those of you that played Unreal Tournament 2000, any of the Unreal Tournaments back in the day, try to pick one of those games up again. See how well you do. You're going to do really poorly because you've lost all those reflexes and you're much slower. That being said, you know, those games were, in my opinion, much faster paced than some of the current gen systems are. But I don't see it coming back because I don't see anybody saying, besides us saying, "Where's the Twitch shooters? Where's the Twitch shooters?" You know.
Yeah. All right. Of course, we could probably talk about Overwatch. Did we ever get a release date yet?
Although they did say beta, not
Yeah.
alpha.
I
Beta
applied
in
for that, but I think it's
January. I think. Yes,
Yeah.
so did I.
No, there's a
Oh.
beta application I need to do.
Yeah,
that.
there is. Did you
Okay.
guys see the not the gameplay trailer, the release trailer for it,
Yes.
the Pixar movie-esque
Yes.
trailer? It looks really, really
Yeah.
well done. Their movie department is fantastic, and they've said that they're going to be delivering the story for this game outside of the game proper. The game is going to be about playing the multiplayer aspects. It's not really going to have a single player. They've said at least, but the story is going to be delivered outside of the game. And after seeing that trailer, which basically looked like a 5 to 10 minute Pixar movie, I think we're going to be getting little episodic movie trailers that tell the story of our characters.
all right. Which character stood out to you guys the most, or that you would
well-
probably play as?
They were really pushing Tracer, for
Yeah,
sure.
Tracer
She's
was
very
the big
prominent,
one.
but I want to know more about the monkey.
Yeah.
The giant monkey. He was fun. And why he had like glasses? Is he like some kind of scientist gone awry with his experiments or something? Now he's a giant monkey. I don't know. And,
Caesar.
yeah, exactly. Something like that.
I see what you did there.
And
You're welcome, Internet.
The robot dude who turns into a turret.
Yeah.
Because what they did tell us about the history is that there was some kind of robot uprising, which is why the Overwatch team was assembled. So why do they have a robot working for them? You know, don't know yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gonna have to do a lot of backstory development.
The Reaper looked very interesting. Like the fact that he's almost like this stealth character, and his shoot 'em up style, like crazy ultimate looked really cool. I loved let's see, Black Widow, or the Widowmaker, excuse me, was really
Widowmaker,
cool just because like she has like this little bit of like an assault rifle, but she can go, full range stealth if need be. Hanzo was really cool, the archer. There was just a lot of cool people. Like there wasn't really like anybody that was like, okay, this is kind of stupid. Like even the healer like looked fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, she reminded me of Kale.
Yeah.
The giant
quite a
angel
bit,
wings
yeah.
Exactly.
through the air.
The only one I was a little bit confused about was, I forget his name, but he's like the Shaolin monk with all the orbs.
Yeah.
He
and
looks
actually,
very complex.
And actually, GameStop, or not GameStop, GameSpot right now has a bunch of videos on individual spotlights of each character right now.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
And they were showing a little bit of what he can do, and he's definitely very controller. He has a lot of really odd moves that maybe don't make sense, but when you see them in play, you're like, okay, I kind of get where he's going.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
He's a support character. So
Yeah, somewhat of a support
Interesting.
character.
All right. So with that, it's game time. Today's game is called Show Me Your Titles. I'm going to name you 10 games, and you either have to tell me they're essentially what they could be the sequel of, fill in the blank, or their proper name. And by proper name, like Return of the King, the proper name would be Lord of the Rings 3, the Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring 3, The Two Towers 2, Return of the King. You'll see why I say that in just a second.
okay.
All
Okay.
right,
So
I
we're
have 10
naming
questions.
we're naming the franchise and the number of the game in the series, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
So the final question will be worth 2 points. Everything else will be worth 1. And in case of a tie, we shall go to time. So we will start off with Mr. Clegg. So Curtis,
Okay.
if you may take off your headset. All right. Let me get my timer, our official timer here of That Game Show. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
The time starts when I finish the first question. Body Count was known to masses as the unofficial sequel to what PlayStation 2 shooter?
Oh, I never owned a PlayStation 2. Hitman.
Wrong. Fill in the blank. Stubbs the Zombie and...
I have no idea.
Alright. Conquer.
Stealth the zombie. Oh, okay, that's a squirrel one. Yep.
Fill in the blank. Excuse me.
Oh, like the bit after it.
Yeah.
Whiskers Unleashed.
Wrong. If you go by the storyline, what would Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands be? The first, second, or third?
Oh, like chronologically?
Yeah.
3.
Wrong. What would be the proper title
Right
for
here.
Amplitude?
The proper title for Amplitude. I don't know.
Frequency
I-
2.
Okay.
Fill in the blank. Metal Arms.
Blitzcrank has them.
Wrong. Fill in the blank. The 1996 adventure game Titanic.
I hit an iceberg.
Wrong. Fill in the blank. Enslaved.
Leia.
Wrong. Mega Man 64 is also known as what game?
Mega Man 6.
Wrong. Mega Man Legends. What is the proper title for Jedi Academy?
Star Wars Jedi Academy.
Wrong. All right. That was interesting.
Painful.
That was
That was
painful.
painful.
All right. I'm not. I normally would tell Curtis your score, but
Yeah, I'm just gonna listen in because
All right.
it doesn't really matter.
all right, Curtis, you're good. Let's do this.
What's going on?
All right,
Really
here we
happy to
go.
work that out for you.
Clegg did
Oh, I do?
really
Oh,
well.
crap.
Clegg did
Yeah.
really well.
Oh, this is
So
gonna, oh, this is gonna suck.
you've got a lot of work ahead of you. All right.
Okay.
So the game's called Show Me Your Titles. What is like essentially the sequel or fill in the blank. All right.
Okay.
Time starts when I finish the first question.
Okay.
Here we go. Body Count was known to most people as the unofficial sequel to what PlayStation 2 shooter?
Buddy count, buddy count, buddy count, buddy count. Black.
Correct. Fill in the blank. Stubbs the Zombies in
I have no idea.
Rebel Without a Pulse. Fill in the
Oh.
blank. Conquer.
Bad Fur Day.
Wrong. Live and Reloaded. If you
Same game.
nope, different game. There's no apostrophe T. Sorry, no apostrophe S. If you went in chronological order, what would Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands be? The first, second, or third?
Third.
Wrong. Fill in the blank. Metal Arms.
Glitch in a system.
Correct. What would be the proper title for Amplitude?
Amplitude. Awesome music.
Wrong, but I like it. Fill in the blank. The 1996 adventure game Titanic.
I own that game, but I don't remember the last part. Titanic, the awesome adventure with guns and swords.
Close. Adventure Out of Time. Fill in the blank. Enslaved.
Lots of people.
Wrong. Odyssey to the West. Mega Man
Oh,
64 was also known as what game?
Mega Man 3D.
Close. Mega Man Legends. What is the proper title of Jedi Academy?
Star Wars.
And that's it?
Star Wars Jedi Academy.
That's
Wrong.
what I said.
The proper title of it is Star Wars Dark Forces 4, Jedi Knight 3, Jedi Outcast 2, Jedi Academy.
That's ridiculous.
It is. But
There's
many
no
people
way
would
I
forget many people would forget the Dark Forces part. All right. Curtis, you got 1 2.
One.
Clay got nothing. I was just
I
yanking
got
your
none
chain.
of those.
You
Curtis
didn't get any
wins.
of those?
I got none of those.
I
Although
feel like
I still think some of my answers were better. But
I didn't
So-
hear any of them. So I'd like to hear what were your answers?
Enslaved. Leia.
What was the one you put down for
Metal Arms. Blitzcrank has them.
BlizzCAAAAAAAAHN has it.
Titanic. An iceberg sank us.
Conquer.
These are the best. These are the best games. We need to actually make these games. It's just-
Whiskers Unleashed.
Whiskers Unleashed. That was it.
the Titanic one is just like you see a 2D Titanic, and there's just this iceberg coming towards it, and then they hit each other, and it says game
Yep.
over.
There's actually nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I
can
loved.
try.
I don't know if you guys remember it. There was a ABC used to run a cheap cinema theater like bumper, and it was just like these like second graders drew it for Titanic, and it was just like this giant boat and an iceberg, and you see a captain go, "Oh crap, iceberg, and then all the people start falling in the water, and just one girl going, "I'm cold," and that's it. That's the
What
entire
is
bumper
this?
for Titanic. If you, I don't know if it's on YouTube, but it's ABC's Cheap Cinema Theater, and they
Oh
did it for
god.
Titanic. It was amazing.
Huh. The
Yeah,
things you learn.
that game
Hmm.
sucked.
It
That's what I get
happens.
for naming obscure titles.
Yep.
At least
Yep.
the title of the game was fun.
I mean, the Black is such a obscure game that I barely remember it, and somehow in the back of my head, it's like there was a game called Black that you never played, and that sounds like an obscure game.
Yeah,
So,
I thought about
anyways,
naming obscure games like Obscure and Obscure the Aftermath.
super obscure. Anyways,
Depth. All right, so let's move on to another question I have. We had Assassin's Creed Unity just came out. It's what, the sixth edition of?
I think it's higher than that,
It's
isn't it?
six, seven. I lost track after three because they
I
after that
can.
they stopped numerizing them.
Assassin's Creed games.
They
Let's
they,
take a
they
I
look.
think
have
it's like maybe the eighth or ninth. I
it's
think
No, because
it's
Black
yeah.
Flag was only number 4.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
they've
the
also
only ones
made
that were
like
numbered. There were
yeah
like four in between the ones that were numbered and the ones that weren't
they had
numbered, I
like
think.
Okay.
Brotherhood and a few others.
Okay,
You
there
had
there oh my God. That's a
No,
lot
you're right.
of games.
Unity is number 7.
Unity's number
No,
seven. No,
never mind.
I think
Well, I
that's
guess.
more than that.
Yeah, never mind. There are more.
really?
I can't tell exactly how many of those games there are.
Some of them are like iOS games, I think. That so they're not console releases,
Yeah,
or PC
but
releases. So
either
they're
way,
Mobile,
we
in a
had
different category.
it's pretty high in
yeah
there.
we had Unity that just came out and it's getting mixed reviews. Advanced Warfare just came out. Mind you, some of them are a little bit more positive, but most Call of Duty games have been getting a 9. I've been seeing them getting like 8s, and I think one had a high 7.
Just for reference, it's the 12th game
It's the 12th
of the
game?
series.
Okay.
Hmm.
Jeez.
At what point do you stop making a franchise? I'll start off with Curtis.
The best thing I can say to this is when you stop having good ideas, you should stop making the video games because then you're just ruining the reputation of your game. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. I mean, honestly, if you make a crap game, people are going to remember that cruddy game more than they're going to remember the good ones before it. You
Mhm.
continue to make junk, you're continuing to tarnish the good name that you had previously.
Yeah.
Right. You got to keep doing new and better things, right? Let's talk about the king of rehashing content. Hi, Nintendo. So when they make a new Mario game, they have a tendency to, they'll reuse the same characters, the same universe, the same areas even, but they'll have them doing different things. And you may argue that's maybe not enough to keep a franchise going, but they've got a handful of the most recognizable, iconic video game characters in the world. They got Mario, they got Link, they got Peach, they got Bowser, they got all these characters that you've played a billion games in. And they're always doing different things. They're playing sports, or they're fighting each other in like Smash, or they're playing golf, or they're doing medicine with Dr. Mario. They're always doing different gameplay types, right? So it's all about the gameplay being varied, you know?
Don't talk to us about playing medicine because Curtis and I are still peeved about Trauma Center.
Oh my God, that game is hard.
Oh
So
my
hard.
gosh.
Anyways,
Uh, with Dr. Dog.
oh
So we'll sidebar that in just a second.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I do agree with you that Nintendo like does a lot of rehashing, but like we can't really yell at like Link or any of the Legend of Zeldas because they come out so far in between. It's like okay, we can actually like kind of enjoy this. Mario, it seems like they're literally like they've remade like they remade like some of their games like numerous times with like new 3D graphics. Um, I think if they did something like Galaxy or like even the new Super Mario World, which was new and different, like I won't. It's it has come to the point where it's like, okay, come on now, let's think of like something past Galaxy. Let's not get a Galaxy 3. Let's not get a new Super Mario World 3 or whatever. Let's get something new and
Mhm.
different. Every time I hear an Assassin's Creed game, I'm just like, either it's me just getting old and seeing it, like, come on, come on.
I
We've
think
heard
that's
this,
that's part of it for sure.
but like a new
Is,
Call of
is
Duty
us just
game,
getting older.
it's we already know like it comes out every year. It's like this shouldn't be happening. It's like the quality will go down. Granted, I will say in
But
Assassin's Creed Defense, they do
mhm,
have new settings and they do look very cool.
mhm.
But at what point do you say we need to stop this and go start something new?
Well, on the point you were making about Call of Duty, one thing that Activision does very, very well that I don't think Ubisoft does very well is they have separate teams working on separate
Yeah.
games. So what's cool about that is a lot of times they're developed independently of each other, meaning that you get a very different take. Like Advanced Warfare, for instance, was very different from the last game they put out. And I mean, you kind of see some of the same stuff with Assassin's Creed, but it kind of makes me wonder. They've been putting out literally one of these games every year since 2008, I believe. No, since 2009, where they did Assassin's Creed 2, then it was Brotherhood, Revelations 3, 4, and then now Unity, or Rogue, depending on which system you have, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, at what point is it just is it just you're just spitting out the same thing because you need that next generation of game?
Yeah.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here and
Okay.
say the word generations is important, right? Because when you have an established franchise with iconic characters that can last 20, 30, 40 years or longer, then you are literally playing the generation game
Mm,
where you introduce this character to players when they were, in their teens or even maybe when they were younger. 20 years later, they're adults and they have
mhm.
kids of their own. Maybe you can target those same characters doing something else, maybe, but those same characters towards the next generation of gamers, the kids of the players you originally targeted. So maybe Mario's doing something else now, but
Yeah.
he's such an iconic character. He's lasted the test of time. You can continue to reuse him, and your new players have not experienced the games you put out 10 years ago. This is all
Mhm.
new to them. So as long as you can keep the older gamers at least, partially interested, I think there's something to be said of playing the generation game and just dealing with a younger audience and new players who
Mhm.
who haven't seen what you've done before.
Now, I want to throw this little kink in because, we've played League of Legends for years now. Team Fortress 2's been out for a very long time. Counter-Strike's also been out for a very long
Mhm.
time. I'm trying to think of other shooters that or other games that have been out there for a while. At what point do you
Um,
stop
World of Warcraft. I'm just
I mean,
saying,
World
World
of
of
Warcraft
Warcraft's been
also
out for.
makes. Oh, actually, yeah. Let's throw in World of
It's been
Warcraft
out
on this.
for
10
10
years?
years.
10 years.
Let's throw that
Hmm.
in there. At what point do you say, okay, we've had our run? They're not making sequels. Granted, WoW's making expansions, and League of Legends is just like revamping their entire map. At what point do you say we need to move on to another game, or we just need to do something different? Is it like a time span, or is it just like, okay, we kind of just lost a good chunk of our following? It's time to move on.
It's when the developer loses the passion for the game and probably even more importantly when the players stop paying for it,
Mhm.
when they're no longer interested in it. It's a market response. If players aren't playing your game anymore, you're not going to be able to support development of it, so that it's just going to stop
Yeah,
naturally. But from a more highbrow view, it's when the developers are no longer passionate about the game. They don't care as much as they used to, and the quality of work is going to suffer for it.
yeah,
Exactly. Or in case of story-driven games, they just don't have a good story to tell.
yeah,
I mean, would you rather have? Perfect example is, frankly, is going to be Mass Effect, and I hate to use this example, but they're going to put out more Mass Effect games. Do I think they have story there? They kind of tied everything up. I mean,
yeah,
what's the point of having another Mass Effect game when you had your trilogy and you told a
Hmm.
good story? Do you really want to put that extra game out and maybe be like, nobody likes it, and then suddenly, people were already rocky because of Mass Effect 3. Do you really want to start pushing
yeah,
buttons because you want to put out another Mass Effect
and
game?
you also
Hmm.
like I love the Prince of Persia Sands of Times trilogy, and they put out Forgotten Sands. Granted, I haven't played that yet. I'm almost afraid to, just because the fact of like I feel like this could be forced. I feel like this could be like, oh, let's try to capitalize
Hmm.
on Sands of Time one more time. But I don't know. Like, first off, I want to give Clegg a highbrow answer of, gonna raise the eyebrows.
Okay.
It's a highbrow answer. See, eyebrows are high, therefore
It's a
highbrow answer.
highbrow. Okay.
Okay.
Um, it's definitely it's a very not a touchy subject, but it's one that makes you think a little bit. And I mean, we don't know how many more Assassin's Creed games we're going to get out of Ubisoft. We don't know how many Call of Duty games we're going to get out of Activision. But it almost like makes you wonder at what point do you say, okay, enough's enough. Like we're on Assassin's Creed 10
12.
jointification. I don't know. And like they'll eventually just make up words like, "Oh, what's he doing? He's in modern day America,
But
modern day Mars."
I think there's totally more places they could go. It's just, and to be frank, I mean, Assassin's Creed 3, from what we've heard, was okay, but not amazing. Black Flag was great, from what we heard, and then
Hmm.
now this one is kind of from what we've heard. So, I mean, if they keep on making that, like, one mistake, one good one, they're going to be going on a Windows track
Yeah.
where put out one good one and then you put out the apology game.
For a second, it's like
Put out
Windows Track's like,
Windows
"Where's he
8.
going with this?" Oh, okay.
And you put out Windows 8.
And then you're like, oh, this was so bad, we're going to skip 9 and go straight to 10.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's funny
Anyways.
though. I remember Clegg was so excited about
I
Windows 8.
was. And I was disappointed.
Well, you get a free, you get like a cheap upgrade to Windows 10
Yeah.
Good.
because you
Oh,
have
goody.
Windows 8. Windows 10 looks okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's the apology edition.
The apology edition.
Yeah.
Oh man. But I want to go
Anyways.
do a little sidebar with why Curtis and I are a little bit traumatized. We were playing. Curtis came over a little while ago,
For your
and
birthday.
yeah, and so we played Trauma Center New Blood. And it was a game that we've been trying to beat for a couple of years now. Like whenever he comes by, because we live in two separate towns. Like we will play whenever one of us comes over. And we eventually just reached a part where they go into like this cave, and this dog assists them in an operation. And it's
So
like,
stupid.
if you've ever played Trauma Center is fun, but by God, the story, the voice acting are awful. It's like the dog helps you. It's like, all right, I need the scalpel. Thanks, Dr. Dog. You get a treat for that
It's
one.
literally like, I kid you not, they're like, here's this dog. We give you a dog because you came to our country. Oh, we shot your dog. You have to operate on your dog. And then so you operate the dog, and you're like, oh, the dog's instantly better, even though you just slice them up, removed fucking bullets from their, pardon my language,
Great, listen to that.
their bullets from their heart, and now the dog is totally just walking around 10 seconds later like nothing happened.
It's
Dumbest thing.
it's the no. Here's what's the even dumber part, and I think you were there. I did like one episode without you, where they get locked in a sewage drain,
Yeah, I was
and they
there.
go, "Should we lock it? Nah, I got this toy at the toy store, so this will be fun." And they literally sewage grate, toy lock, and that's what they do, and they just walk away. It's
It's a
like
puzzle.
it's a
freaking
puzzle.
puzzle.
They use a puzzle. It's like I keep thinking back to Watchmen with Ozymandias. Like, do you think I'm just some comic book villain? I did this 30 minutes ago. It's like, do you think I'm just some comic book villain? I made it to where you are going to die in this sewer grate, not do this stupid toy.
Oh, wow, it was just. Though
It's-
to be
it's an
fair, that game's
aneurysm.
a lot of fun.
It
That
is
game's a lot of
fun. It is
But
fun, but
that game is a lot of fun. You would enjoy that.
you
game.
would.
Okay. Well, next time we're
There's
together,
no horror.
play it.
Like there was no horror aspect, but by
Okay.
God, you will rage.
I don't know. It sounds pretty horrible.
It is.
Ah.
It's-
You will
What?
rage. All right.
I made a bad joke. Never mind. It's
okay, I got you.
I heard
Okay.
whore something. So
Horrible.
Hippo.
okay.
Ah,
So final topic. IGN released its top 10 best bosses and is apparently voted on by the readers. Here's what they have, and tell me if you agree and who got snubbed. Number 10, Master Hand. Number 9,
Mm.
Smash.
Nemesis.
Smash. Yep.
Nemesis is from Metroid?
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil, okay.
Number
Okay.
8, Sephiroth.
Okay.
Oh,
Number
yeah.
7,
Yeah.
Dark Link.
Oh,
That's a good
okay.
Uh,
That one's interesting.
Number 6, the Big Daddy.
Yeah, from BioShock.
Yeah.
From BioShocks. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
I don't really
I'm
consider
glad
them
you guys know
bosses,
these games.
though.
Number 5, Gladys.
That's a
GLaDOS,
very
yeah.
good boss, yeah.
That's because these are mainstream, Jace.
If Murph was here right now, Murph would be seething. All the
well.
mainstream.
Hates AAA titles.
Yeah.
So
We miss you, Murph. He's off doing bigger and better things right now. With
He's
real
off
people.
doing other things right
Yeah.
now.
Number 4, Darth Vader. Number 3,
from which game?
Boss,
they said the Star Wars series, but like that was things like I'm trying to think
That's
of like at what point do you
Force Unleashed, I think you fight Darth Vader.
Okay, I still haven't played those. I
Because
need to play those.
you're his apprentice.
Okay. Number 3,
Oh, right.
I don't know why they say it when they can literally just say one word. They say King Bowser Koopa instead of
Bowser,
just
yeah.
Bowser.
Bowser.
That's his proper title, Chase.
Oh, okay. I hate you so much. Number 2, Joker. Take a guess at
From
number 1.
the
Batman.
Arkham games?
Yeah, the
Okay.
Arkham games.
Okay.
Guess number 1.
Best villain.
We
The
talked
Lich
about the
King.
game. No,
Lich
that's
King
good.
would have been Illidan.
No,
maybe?
no, we talked about him, or we talked about his series just a little while ago.
Talked about his series earlier.
5 seconds.
We talked about his
Conquer.
No.
not the giant poo.
Oh, that was so good. All right. Curtis, you got a guess?
No.
Clegg?
I mean, I'd put something from Dark Souls in there personally,
Alright.
but we didn't talk about that,
Yeah.
so that can't
Well,
be it.
hold on. What about Dr. Robotnik?
No, he's not on there.
Oh. Oh well.
All right.
From
the answer-
Sonic?
Yeah. I think he's an iconic boss, but
He is. I wouldn't put him in the top 10.
All right. The answer, number 1, is Ganondorf from Zelda.
Yeah.
From Zelda. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
okay.
sure.
I see.
That's high up there. I
Yeah.
can see that.
They have also the least
Should-
top 10, but these are all like
The least top 10?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, the worst, basically.
Yeah.
Of
these are all pretty bad. Like Jason Voorhees from the NES version of Friday the 13th.
Excuse me.
Sturm from the Advance Wars series. A Bobo from Double Dragon. It's like Slash from Guitar Hero. I don't know why you put him on there. But
Yeah.
who do you think got snubbed? Who do you think got ranked a little bit lower than the rest?
I think GLaDOS
I-
was a little bit lower than I would have
I
given
put
her.
I put Master Hand a little higher in there too. He was rough for me back in Smash.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Maybe.
I think getting certain characters he was easy, but when like you try to do like the complete run, there was a lot of champions you're like, good lord, this is difficult.
If I remember
Yeah.
correctly, Yoshi was particularly difficult with Master Hand.
And Jigglypuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Oh,
Jigglypuff.
yeah.
How the hell do you do that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Put to sleep. That doesn't work.
I hate Jigglypuff in those games.
Any
Anyway,
other
sorry.
any bosses get snubbed?
I mean, I'm missing Seath from Dark Souls.
Oh,
The
you.
scaleless dragon, Curtis.
I'm just shaking my head. I'm
Oh,
just nodding my
your
head.
arch nemesis from.
that guy put me off that game for 3 months.
I disagree with you. I
couldn't
think
play that guy.
Ornstein and Smo are the two, like characters that you just don't want to fight ever again. You had an easier time with Ornstein. and Smo than
I had
did.
no
I
problem
had
with them, but I
I had a
couldn't do
heck of
it
a
at
hard.
all.
I'm surprised like they did. Granted,
First
I'm
there.
about to go up against him right now in Borderlands, but like Handsome Jack all the way through was just so cool. The fact that
Yeah.
he's on the cover of the link to that article, and he's not even on that top 10. It's like,
I mean, I think I'd put him up there over Master Hand personally. I mean,
I put him over Nemesis. Granted, Nemesis is iconic, but so is Dr. Robotnik, and you don't see him on that list.
yeah, but
And
Doctor.
it hasn't been a good Sonic game in a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the issue is Dr. Robotnik would be remembered much more fondly if there wasn't so many garbage games that he was a part of. You know, what's the name of the bad guy from Donkey Kong? The
King K.
crocodile.
Rool.
Yeah, he's another one that I find
Oh.
very
Hmm.
iconic
Yeah,
with the crown and everything. And then
he'd be a good one.
I'm trying to think. I mean, we could technically say Wario's a bit of a villain, isn't he?
Um,
Yeah,
Wario,
but
he's
he's
more of like
been
an
a
anti-hero, I think.
yeah. Yeah. I would put him in that category too.
I actually have another one that.
Ridley, I think would be.
Oh yeah, from
Ridley from
Metroid.
Metroid.
Rid-
Hmm.
I think he was
I
good.
would say also Gary Oak from Pokemon. Personally, it's
That's
kind of a
true.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, well, I mean, he's not really a villain. He's just kind of a
he's your
He's
dick.
just a
yeah, but he's your
dick.
rival. He's your antagonist throughout the game.
Well, yeah, but so was, Team Rocket, and I put them in the more villainous
Yeah,
role.
it's true. Team Rocket's pretty iconic as well. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about best bosses
Yeah.
though, not iconic
All right.
bosses.
So, audible topic. The one of the most difficult bosses you have ever faced in the history of games.
Well, I
Plague.
think I already gave
I
mine
think you already
away
gave you
with
your answer,
the
but
Scaleless from
would
Dark
you care to
Souls.
elaborate with us?
It's this giant white dragon who has no scales and he has tentacles for legs and he moves towards you like a slug, which doesn't sound very intimidating at all. But he turns the entire room into ice crystals and and what's that stupid curse mechanic, Curtis, that
Yep.
just
Yep.
cuts you? Get too close to him and he turns you into stone. It was so obnoxious. And the gauntlet to get to him in the first place, this is Dark Souls 1, by the way. The gauntlet to get to him was annoying because it was you had to walk along a path that you could not see. So you were in a giant chasm and you memorized the path eventually, but there was an invisible walkway.
Yep.
So the first time you went there, you were scared shitless because you were looking down and there were, magical butterflies, which don't sound terrifying, but they will kill you. And
Magical
you're walking
butterflies.
walking down
You don't
an
have to
invisible
fight them
pathway.
though. Why were you fighting the butterflies
I
every time?
wasn't, but I was looking down
Okay.
and seeing them.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if I fall, which is already bad, I would then have to fight them, which is also bad.
Yeah. Yeah. That was. Oh, that one was a lot less hard for me, but you quit the game like literally
For
for
3 months
months.
because of that
You
stupid.
would not touch this game. You like I remember the text message you texted me. You're like, "F this game, I quit." And then only when like Dark Souls 2 was announced, you're like, begrudgingly, you're like, "Okay, let's go beat it."
Yep.
Curtis, who's your
Oh
one of your big boss moments?
gosh. Okay.
If
This
you
is
got
gonna.
more, feel free to spout them.
Yeah. Are we talking about like hardest bosses, or are we talking about like the ones I remember fighting the most?
Let's go with like the most difficult, where like you pretty much broke a sweat while playing it.
Okay, a good friend of mine, just so we don't stay on the same game here, a good friend of mine, actually of the shows, and I used to play Borderlands 1 all the time. Like, just all the time we would get bored and we get on Borderlands. And there was a boss on one of the expansions called Terramorphous. Or no, it wasn't Terramorphous, it was Crawmerax, excuse me.
Yeah,
Oh
the cave.
yes.
And he and I used to bash our head against the wall for like an hour trying to get this guy down. And finally, through sheer perseverance and stupidity, we ended up farming this guy. Like, not even like a little bit. Like, literally, we killed him, must have been 50, 60 times. And we would bring other people in there with us just to, it was a lot of fun. I still remember it being one of those ones where it was always, though, several times we would get in there, we'd fight, it would be like 20 minutes later, and we'd mess up our rotation, and we'd die instantly. And then we'd both be like kind of pissed at each other for the rest of the run. But, it was one of my favorite moments, I think, in gaming overall.
Clegg, I'm surprised you didn't name any World of Warcraft moments, considering
Well,
like.
that's where I'm going next.
All right.
The raid boss for me
Oh, yeah.
that was most iconic, I think, would be Ragnaros, the new one from Firelands. It was very taxing mechanically, and we only had 10 people. We were doing 10-man raiding, and I played a healer. And it was just incredibly difficult. The final phase of the fight, which took us months to get to, he starts summoning these giant fireball boulder things that roll around the room, and they chase players. They look like giant meatballs lit on fire. And if they reach you, they knock you and anyone near you off the platform, and you die. And he summons more and more of these the longer you're in the final phase. So eventually there are like 5 or 6 of these giant meatballs that you have to dodge because they're chasing Billy, who's running across you, and you have to shoot the boss and heal Jimmy over there at the same time he fireball chasing him. So it was like this crazy maze that was constantly shifting. And that some good nerd moments, good nerd screams when we finally downed him, which took like 6 months for us.
Yeah.
Not a crazy hard progression guild.
I got another one. Killing Floor final boss. The first
That's what I was gonna say next.
The first time we saw that boss, I distinctly remember the first time we got to that boss. The first time we got to that boss, and we were ready to kill it this time. We were on this bridge in a map called Farm, and we were like, "Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put all these pipe bombs underneath the bridge." And then when we see him, we'll jump off the bridge and run away. Fortunately, the Patriarch was way smarter than we were and decided to shoot a missile at us and hit the pipe bombs, blowing up the person who put down the pipe bombs. And we didn't even know. We're like, oh, I think he's over. Oh, he's dead. He's like, our bomb guy is dead. And so instantly, the first thought of everybody is run away.
Get her.
So
Yeah.
literally, two people... Everybody ran in opposite directions to the point where suddenly we realized we had no idea where everybody else was. And we were being hunted one by one by the Patriarch. And still to this day, and actually they just came out with a new map recently, where 2 Patriarchs spawn.
Oh,
and that was also terrifying because we were like, oh, this is pretty easy. This is pretty easy. You get to the final part. You see the first one spawn. You're like, okay, first one. And then you see another one in a completely different area. And you're like, wait.
There's 2?
Wait, there's 2?
Yeah, exactly. And so you start freaking. I love that. It was. Oh god.
I think my first interaction with him, we were on. I forget. Like, it's not Foundry, but it's the level that like we always like hide in that one corridor with 2 doors. I'm literally just going back and forth, like nailing the doors.
Oh, you're talking about
Close quarters.
Biolab.
Yes.
With the staircases going up and down, and we're all sitting on the middle landing. Yeah. Okay.
So I remember, like, because you guys got into it before I did, because like my computer was down at the time, and I was just like, okay, hopefully we do that. Let's go try to fight this guy, and you guys like, ha, good luck. And I just turn the corner and I just see him, and I go, oh crap, and he just like blows me away with like one rock, and like, well, there goes that.
Well, that's life.
I'm trying to think of my big moment. I think fighting Sin in Final Fantasy X was one of the big ones.
That one's interesting.
Fighting Smithy in Super Mario RPG, because God, good lord, that fight took me forever. Like, I had to spend so much money on pick-me-ups. And it's like, okay, I bought 10. Clearly 10 was not enough. Let me go back and buy 20. That was clearly not enough. You know what? I'm just underleveled for this. Like another Final Fantasy X boss, I forget their name, but I was really pissed to find out that like I was literally like fighting for like 40 minutes and I would still lose. I was like, what am I doing wrong? My friend goes, oh, just zombify them and then use Curaga. And I ended up winning that fight in 5 minutes. I'm like, I hate you so much.
I hate you so much.
You know, I'm going to throw out just another one from Dark Souls, and it's not necessarily a boss, but it's one I always remember. It's the Black Knights that you encounter, especially early in the game. They are just stupid hard to kill in the beginning of the game. And, you know, more often than not, you're going to just die to them, and there's nothing you can do. But that moment where you get that one moment where you get the up on them and you end up killing them, you just feel so, you know,
and they're properly bound so that you almost think you can take them the first time you fight them. You're like, I'm not doing no damage, so you know, if I dodge perfectly for the next 5 minutes, this is totally possible, right?
And the worst part is there's always a tip on the ground that says, try sneaking.
Try sneaking?
Well, because what can happen is you can get behind them and you can just backstab them, right? But the thing is, the stealth mechanic in that game works. The lighter the armor you're wearing, the less sound you make. So, Clegg and I always went heavy armor. So we'd be like, clank, clank, clank. clank, and then you'd get like literally a foot away from this guy, and then he'd be like, "Oh, you're there," and he hits you with your shield, so you're on the ground, and you're like,
What was that noise?
Some bitch.
Oh man.
that. And I do fondly remember the last boss in Beyond Good and Evil being very, very interesting.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
fun.
What's
Clank,
the
if
latest
you
on
haven't
the
played
second
that game,
one?
awesome.
It is
That's
so
really
good.
you would actually really like that game.
Oh yeah. Is the
It's
second
got
one still there? Is it still like?
They say it's coming, but it's like Beyond Good and Evil is a great platform game. If you haven't played it before, it's excellent.
From the creators of
got-
Rayman, but it doesn't
yeah,
even look it.
and it just has a really solid story. It's really interesting. It's very different. I would almost say it's kind of Star Fox esque in some ways.
Speaking of Andros from Star
Andros.
Fox.
Oh,
So
like what's
good.
like true Andros in Star Fox 64.
Right, when you
That
use
was the
mechanic
pain in the
correctly.
butt.
Mm-hmm.
I-
That was a good one.
Like that was one of those like I stopped playing because I beat the first time. I was like, all right, cool, easy mode, whatever. And then I literally like stepped away from it for like a good long time. I was like, all right, let's try this again because I was just bored, and I beat it. I was like, oh my gosh, because like what's worse is beating the new and improved Star Wolf, so you're already exhausted from that, and then you have to go into like the depths of hell essentially just to beat.
I gotta pick that game up. I know that came out for 3DS, and I want to play that again.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, they have Ocarina of Time.
Uh-huh.
Majora's Mask is coming out.
Coming out.
They also have. Did they do Wind Waker at 3DS?
No, they did
No, that's
HD.
on Wii U.
It was only for Wii.
Yeah.
Wii U. And they also have Star Fox 64. The new Mario Kart apparently is on there as well.
Mhm.
They've been Mario 64 is also on the 3DS.
Oh, yeah.
It has a lot of
They
good stuff going for
showed
it.
a little bit of footage of a new Star Fox proper game that they're working on.
I think it's Wii U. They said, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'd like for that to come out next year sometime.
My one final boss, because I just realized this and I completely forgot, fighting Sigma for the first time in Mega Man
Oh,
X.
and Mega Man.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that guy.
Gosh, X3 was awful just because of the fact that like you had to hit him in like one tiny spot, and it was just the biggest pain in the butt. So
I feel like there's one I'm just completely
I
blanking
know
on.
I feel like
There's
I'm
probably
blanking.
entire franchises from our childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking of right now.
Like I always
Like, I
wanna,
played a lot of
look into the
Spyro
thing.
back in the day. Spyro the
Ooh,
Dragon.
Oh man, I completely forgot about that game until you just mentioned it.
But I can't. I think the last boss's name of the first game, which is the one I played the most, his
Riptor?
name's like
No.
Gnasty Gnorc or something. I don't remember. I just remember playing that game a lot. Spyro the
What
Dragon.
about Ty the Tasmanian Tiger?
That was an awful game.
That was a fun game. The first
It was
one.
fun, but it was so flawed. Like, did I ever tell you what happened when I tried to pick that game back up?
No.
Okay, so I owned this game called Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, which was kind of who made that game?
I don't know. Let's just say
was
Midway,
Namco?
just because it sounds
I
like a Midway game.
I have to know. It was Chrome Studios. I don't know. It was Electronic Arts. Was the
Really?
company. Yeah, it was published by Electronic Arts, so that explains a lot.
Excellent.
It was kind of their answer to the whole Crash Bandicoot and all those kind of games that were coming up at the time. It was okay. It was amusing at times because he was a Tasmanian tiger that would fight with boomerangs, and he would talk in an Australian accent. The issue with it is it was buggy, like he would fall through floors. The one time I did something that I was supposed to do, and I ended up, dead. Like, so you bounce on this like mushroom or something, and you bounce on it, and then your character instantly dies. And I was like, And the save points were not really there either, so that was
Yeah.
another issue. But
It had giant spiders, and that's what I hated.
everything has giant spiders.
Not everything.
Everything.
Mega Man doesn't
Dragon
have giant
Age
spiders.
has giant spiders.
Yep, not playing it. So, all right, that is it for our show today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you hit like, subscribe. Also, subscribe to our feed on Podcast Garden as well. Leave a comment down below and ask us a question. Maybe we might answer it. Other than that, For Curtis and Daniel, I am Chase. Thank you guys very much for watching. We will see you guys next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.